Member of Parliament for that great constituency of North Central, St. Andrew, State Minister Delano Sebright.
We do so much already, now we doing more. We doing Jamaica Labour Party, yes, we doing more.
My friends,
JLP doing.
I am happy at the turnout here in the great constituency of St. Andrew, Northwestern, our sister constituency, led by the great Dwayne Smith from the Derek Smith family. So, thank you, Deputy Leader, Ministers, MPs, Councillors. I said the first female president of G2K, Shoshana Edwards. Give her a round of applause for being here. Vice President Chad Rattray. Thank you, Tashana. Because, guys, what is happening now, you know? We have to start planning engagements now on a monthly basis where we can have meetings so we can see each other, communicate with each other, and give the Deputy Leader credit. He instructed us to do this, that we need to start meeting on a regular basis so we can talk to each other, not talk down to anybody. We're all one team. We're all flesh and blood. We're all in this together, and we have to fight together to run for the fourth term when it comes. And as we move forward, let us quickly acknowledge the birthday of one of the strongest speakers in the world, the great Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, Juliet Holness. Wish her a happy birthday, please. She and Juliet Cuthbert are two of the toughest women them I know when it comes to politics and fighting for the people of Jamaica. So give Juliet Cuthbert a round of applause too. The truth matters because Andrew Holness has exemplified what it means to be a phenomenal leader. Andrew Holness won the 2016 election, remember, by 1 seat, and governed this country effectively all the way to 2020 with 1 seat majority in Parliament. We got hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Other governments lost in the COVID-19 pandemic. The Labour Party picked up over 48 seats. That, my friends, is an example and a true exemplification of a strong leader in Andrew Michael Holness, our Prime Minister and leader of the Jamaica Labour Party. And why these series matter is that we have to protect success. Because here we are, 2020 to 2025. We'll work our way through the COVID-19 pandemic as a country and under proper leadership. Then we get hit by Hurricane Beryl. We get hit by a drought. We had all sorts of issues, but we kept the country stable, growing, and focused on development. And then 2025 came, and the people gave this party an unprecedented third term again under the leadership of Andrew Michael Holness. But ever since winning that 2025 election and going through that campaign, as a new MP, I am puzzled as to why the opposition is so angry. I mean, it's as if they're in a state of perpetual campaigning, despite the fact that they lost 3 times in a row. And where we are now is that we have to go back to some of the old school tactics that we learn from Babsy Grange, and we learn from Desmond McKenzie, and we learn from Bruce Golding and Derek Smith, and the great Carl Samuda. And their tactic in the 70s and 80s was face-to-face meetings, pounding the pavement, meeting people, talking to people. So despite the fact that all of us are on TikTok and WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram, we still need to see each other on a regular basis so we can sit as a family, discuss our issues, have our arguments, and decide how we plan to move this country forward under the leadership of Andrew Michael Owners, the show of labor rights. So as we move forward, we will continue to focus on the truth and sharing the truth, because negativity sells. It is true. Negativity sells. And it's hard in an environment where you have so much information piling in every day. This is why we had to move to have these series, because we have to now start talking directly, because people are getting confused now. I see people sharing videos with me of a certain vlogger, and the lies. It's not just lies enough, friends. We call it disinformation. They literally build lies and put it out there, and they use AI, and they use a TikTok, and they use Instagram, and they use a WhatsApp, and they spread it. And then sometimes our own people, including us in this room, sharing it with each other. And then the lie perpetuates till people think it's truth. So that's why the truth matters. We have to ensure that we stay connected and grounded with the people. And we know things are not perfect. We know that the cost of living is a challenge. It is the same challenge in America. You have any friends in Canada, they complain about the challenges there. You have friends in England, Kevin, they complain about the challenges there. The cost of living is stressing people out. But nonetheless, when you look at the record of leadership and the stable leadership, where we cut crime in half, where the economy is stable, when you look at the foreign exchange rate, the dollar today is about 158 to 1. You're a money man, you're supposed to know that. 5 years ago, the dollar was 153 to 1. You think under PNP administration, the dollar will be 158 to 1 today, when it was 5 years ago, 153 to 1 labor rights? No, it would probably be at 210 to 1. So you have to understand the context of the times we're living in. Imagine what it would have been like if the JLP was not in power under the leadership of a Minister Favour Williams, under the leadership of a Robert Nesta Morgan, under the leadership of a Delroy Chuck. We have to understand that even though there are challenges, it could have been 10 times worse under another administration. And even the Ministry of Industry, under the leadership of Albin Hill, we have worked now closely to ensure we focus on small businesses and micro businesses. You see what we're doing with ganja? We're opening up ganja, and people make money out of ganja now, and we're moving on a legal footing to encourage people into the space. That is what we're about. When you look at the work we're doing with Minister Favour Williams, we have now set aside 20% of our public procurement to go directly to micro and small businesses. So you need to register your companies, start your businesses, and start bidding for government contracts. It is $37 billion in value, and some of you in here can get some of that money. Start building your business. The truth matters. And as we continue, and that will belong because we have good speakers, we want to ensure that we continue to spread the good news and the work of this government. Because in fairness to Andrew Michael Holness, it's impossible for him to do it alone. We need the support of each and every one of us to carry the message of success that this government continues to perpetuate on a daily basis, despite not being perfect. When we look at the investments coming into the country, at the work of Edmund Bartlett, you have to be amazed by it. We just came through Hurricane Melissa last year, a Category 5 plus hurricane, destroy half the country. And here we are today Electricity returned in 4 months. In 3 months, light came back. Thanks to the leadership of Andrew Holness and Darrell Vaz. These are the messages we need to put out there. In Puerto Rico, when they got hit by Hurricane Maria in 2017, a Category 4 storm, Puerto Rico, which is a part of the United States of America, it took 1 year for the light to come back in full for the people of Puerto Rico. Imagine if right now half of Jamaica is still in darkness, because that would have been the case. But if it was not for the thoughtful, smart leadership of our Prime Minister and Minister Vaz and the team, we would be in darkness today. So as we continue to focus on our country and focus on our constituencies and our divisions, I want to leave you with an important note. We have been mandated to continue to engage the community on a daily basis as much as possible. We're going to start having some limes across the area council in respective communities, and the team will start organizing those. The deputy leader insists that we must also have some church. We forgot church. From time to time, we have a church thing in North Central or in North West or in Central Kingston, Impact Boss. We need to go church Impact Boss. He's an Argentina fan, you know. That's why I'm so hyped today, you know. But nonetheless, we have to continue to build that communication and work together as a party and as a people on a face-to-face basis. Because sometimes we're under pressure. It is very difficult because the demands are high and it's a lot. But sometimes it's better to at least be able to communicate yes or no, and we can see each other and talk to each other as good citizens and supporters of our party. Give a round of applause to that kind of leadership. As we continue to move forward as a country, I want you too to know, you, our workers and supporters, that you have a responsibility to also start building up yourselves even more. Some of you have businesses, you don't register your businesses. We're here to help you to register your businesses so you can professionalize your operations. So you can, it's important. Build businesses, no matter how small, register it so you can start getting opportunities to grow and to build wealth and to build commerce and to build your own family. As we move forward, I want to assure you, the leadership of North Central St. Andrew is here in the interest of the Area Council 1. And the North Central St. Andrew team, which is here in their numbers, will play a lead role in driving a lot of the activities across the corporate area. We want to also ensure too, guys, that you continue to acknowledge the amazing leadership of people like Desmond McKenzie and Delroy Chuck, who have given years of human service to this party and has put this party on a victory footing. As we continue, the truth matters. We need to mash down those lies, stay in touch, and continue to build this party under the leadership of Andrew Michael Holness, Session Labor Rights.
Build up Jamaica, build up St. Louis as well. Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, St. Andrew, and Kingston. Boy.
Let's have a big hand again for the land of civil rights. But every time I come to the microphone, I have to talk about the goodness of the Labour Party. We are a party that ensures that we involve all Jamaicans. Through the Social Development Commission, the SDC. And these people are so barefaced and dishonest. Them lie, them damn lie. One of them get up in Parliament the other day in the sectorial presentation and spoke about the many JLP candidates that is employed by the Social Development Commission. None of the people employed by the SDC, when they were employed, are serving members of the Labour Party. They call out one man who ran an election more than 10 years, the chairman of the SDC. They call out the name of the executive director who ran 15 years ago for the Labour Party. But let me ask the question. Is it a crime that if you contest a seat for a party, that you can't be employed in government once you have the qualification? Is that what they are saying? But they don't tell you that the SDC used to be run by a former minister of local government who had responsibility. A former general secretary of the PNP was employed to the SDC. Just before the last election in 2016, the chairman of the SDC board was the former chairman of the PNP region 4 corporate area. Region 3 was chairman of the SDC board. We never made an issue out of it. What we are looking for are persons who are competent, and once they can, they are entitled to work, and that is something that we believe in. We retain former members of parliament in jobs when we took office, but yet they go in the parliament and talk about we politicizing the work of the SDC. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you tonight, the Social Development Commission under this government is one of the best institutions that we can find in this country. And I challenge any member of the opposition to deny that they have not had a good working relationship with the SDC, where they have gotten benefits out of programs run by the SDC. And yet they get up trying to confuse the country. Because what they used to do before, we are not doing it now. And I want to announce tonight that come August, the Social Development Commission will be launching a 50 million entrepreneurial grant for small businesses in communities right across the country. And both PNP and NEP at all will benefit from it, because what we deal in is the needs of the community, and we're not asking which party you join. Again, we have to mash down the lies. When we announce the 77 million to assist the churches, they cuss we out. You know, the first place I made the announcement was in Westmoreland. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. That funds that we provide for the churches have helped the churches in a great way. How many Jamaicans is aware of the work of our churches in our various communities? Why is it you question the wisdom of a government to help the churches in a time of need. Though when some of the wife and husband left, we don't run to the church counseling. When we want to get married, when we want to get married. No in our church. And when you're dead, when you want to go to church. And so tonight, I announced earlier on at the last handing over, the government of Dr. Andrew Holness is going to be providing another $50 million to assist the churches in the parishes of Clarendon, Senton, and Manchester through the SDC that was affected by Hurricane Melissa. This is a caring government, a government who understands. And that is why we have a Minister of Finance who, despite all the challenges that we face, when I go to her and say, Minister, you need to move on this. Sometimes she's slow, but she's sure. And whenever she speaks, she's not as strong as me and strong as some of the women them. They want to cower her down. At times they want to disrespect her because the truth hurts. And when I hear they say, when she take the funds out of the insurance industry and the effects that it is going to have on the country, and it was done without consultation, is a lie from the pit of hell. Consultation was hell. We're going to mash down that lie. The truth matters. And I want the people of Jamaica, not labor rights alone, if we allow lies to become the order of the day, then we're going to have a problem. Let's welcome the first female Minister of Finance, third term MP, Favour Williams.
Choose Jamaica for better communities. Choose Jamaica for our prosperity. Choose Jamaica, this is what it really means. To choose Jamaica, choose JLP.
Labor rights? Labor rights? Where are my St. Andrew Eastern people? Yeah. Let me acknowledge Deputy Leader, all my colleagues, ministers, members of Parliament, all our councillors, our councillor caretakers, our caretaker MPs, labor rights all. Let me acknowledge as well the first female president of G2K, Sashana Lee Edwards. Of course, I have to acknowledge MP Dwayne Smith and all the labor rights in this constituency. We welcome Dwayne as our new chairman of Area Council 1. The best area council in all of Jamaica. Yeah? I want to especially thank Mr. Ennis for the years of service to Area Council 1. We could always count on Mr. Ennis to be at Area Council 1 meetings. And I will always remember him saying, whenever he chairs the meeting, coming next to greet us is so-and-so. Every time, coming next to greet us. Mr. Ennis, we wish you well. Labor rights? Labor rights? I really like the title this afternoon. The truth matters. get the facts. And tonight, I want to especially speak to the young people, those who have joined the Jamaica Labour Party and those who are thinking about joining the Jamaica Labour Party. I want to tell you the facts, the truth about the Jamaica Labour Party, because that is what convinced me to join this noble party. I want to say to the young people, 83 years ago, one man stood at Ward Theatre, one victory sign, one bell, and he said, enough. Enough poverty, enough neglect, enough of the small man told to wait his turn. And that man was Alexander Bustamante. And from Bustamante to Sangster, to Shearer, to Siaga, to Golden, to the Honorable Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, every generation of the party has been ringing the bell. We are the Jamaica Labour Party. And I have to remind our young people about another fact. In 1944, under adult suffrage, universal adult suffrage, every domestic worker, every farmer, every Jamaican got a vote for the first time. Think about it, Labourites. In all the centuries and centuries of the history of Jamaica, it was only in 1944 that Jamaicans got to vote. And what do you think they did with that vote? They chose the Jamaica Labour Party. 22 of 32 seats. So I say to all of you Labourites, we not just come. We're there a long time. And we're going to be here for a very, very long time to come. We are a real movement. In recent years, the Honorable Siaga brought us back. Bruce Golden brought us back. Andrew Holness brought us back. Not once, not twice, 3 times in a row. So let's talk some real numbers, because numbers don't lie. In 2016, Labourites, unemployment was 13.7%, almost 14%. Today, we've recorded the lowest ever unemployment. Debt to GDP once was about 140%. And if you wonder what that means, what does it mean to have 140% debt to GDP? It means that if we continued like that, every Jamaican would be walking with one hand in front of them and one hand behind them, because all of what we earn as a country, or most of it, will be going towards paying interest on the debt. Now, Jamaicans, the debt is under 69%. And it's heading to 60% by 2030. Even after Hurricane Melissa, the worst that the planet has seen, even after that, not one credit rating agency downgraded us. Labor rights, that is not luck. That is hard work. That is discipline. And labor rights, you know that we increased the tax threshold. When we came to power, it was about $500,000. Now it's at 1.9 million and heading to $2 million. Labor rights, some 4,000 more police are on our street. Policemen and women are there to protect us. Murders are down, and I see our minister over there, to the lowest level since we started counting the numbers. And Bustamante, small men and women, are standing right here today in the middle of it. It's a young woman who walked out of heart with a trade. It's a young man who was able to get a job for the first time. But labor rights, we have not arrived. We still have work to do. We still have an energy sector to transform. We have a public service to modernize so that they can better serve the Jamaican people. And labor rights, I want to say to you, we are enjoying the third straight victory. But labor rights, it is not a trophy to put on the shelf. It is a debt we owe every voter every single day. So are we the party that built the nation's independence? Yes. Are we the party that is building its strongest economy? Yes. Are we the party still standing for the small man and woman, exactly like Bustamante in 1943? Labor rights, Bustamante rang the freedom bell in 1943. Tonight, that bell is in our hands. We are the party of the green color. We are the party of the victory sign. One bell, one Jamaica, one Labour Party, one and to hold this.
Ring the bell, make we ring the Labour bell. Ring the bell, Jamaica, ring the Labour bell. Thank you. So many achievements, make we tell the people.
All right, thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, justice is an important aspect of the Labour Party's policy. Notice in Parliament the other day, whole heap of excitement. But we probably have easily the best justice minister ever since independent Jamaica. Let's welcome the Honorable Delroy Chuck, Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
Jamaica Labour Party, yes, we doing more for you. JLP doing more for you. JLP doing more. Let's go. Above and beyond for Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Deputy Leader. Let me first of all say I'm very happy to be here in Dwayne Smith's constituency of Northwest St. Andrew. I'm glad because his father, Derek Smith, and I worked very closely together. And 30 years ago, it was Derek Smith who introduced me to Northeast St. Andrew. and helped me with my counsel, Joy Cottrell, to make sure that Northeast St. Andrew remained for the last 30 years, almost 30 years, a Labour Party constituency. And it will remain a Labour Party constituency for many, many, many more terms. I want to also thank the outgoing chairman, Winston Ennis, my councillor, who did a fantastic job as chairman of Era Council 1. And I have no doubt that Dwayne has learned a lot from him, and Era Council 1 will continue to be the best Era Council across the island. Let me say labor rights. You have heard the previous speakers, and the theme, truth matters, we must always bear in mind. Because we have some people, some bloggers, some propagandists on social media and across Jamaica trying to put negative thoughts, misinformation, innuendos, everything to destroy the best government Jamaica has ever seen, the Andrew Holness-led administration. And I don't want to go into all the negatives that they have been spewing and give it any oxygen. I want to concentrate on positive things for the few minutes I have. First of all, how many of you recall when Darrell Vaz said he's going to have a school bus program? Do you recall what the PNP did? How they undermined it and said it can't work? You're going to endanger the children? The parents don't want it? Labor rights across the country now. Every parent not only praising the bus system, school bus system, but begging for more. And I understand Minister Vaz is like to bring in more school bus so the PNP can shut their mouth and really support a great program. How many of you, we have to talk about the positive things that is happening in this country? How many of you realize that for the first time in our history, for 4 straight consecutive years, crime has gone down? Murder is going down? No time in our history have we ever seen where a government is able to manage and support the police so that crime is going down, murder is going down for 4 consecutive years. And it's this Andrew Holness-led administration that has given the security forces the technology, the vehicles, and the manpower. As Minister Favour Williams told you, they have moved the complement of the police force from 10,000 to 14,000. And that is why labor rights, for the last 4 years, 2023, murder went down 9%. 2024, 19%. Last year, 42%. And this year, 20% already. And labor rights, this is where the Ministry of Justice is coming in, because we want to help the police. We want to help Jamaica to really fix their problems, resolve their disputes, settle their conflicts, because these are what are contributing to many of the violent crimes in Jamaica. So labor rights, the Ministry of Justice, and let me put it this way, every level of the Jamaican society is improving in some way, as Minister Williams told you, at every level, every department. And there's no greater improvement in any sector than the Justice Ministry. The Justice Ministry is not, the system is now enjoying its best days ever. And I've been around for the better part of 50 years. When I used to go to court, you're lucky if court operating. No light, no air condition. No. When you go to the courts, at least you have air condition. And it works. The place is clean. And let me tell you something. Most of these courts are close to 100 years old. So it is difficult to fix them. But we spend a lot of money trying to make sure that when your persons go to court, they can get justice in an atmosphere that is decent and attractive. But one thing I can tell you, within the next 2 years, we are going to build at least 8 courts. And these courts must last for the next 100 years. So every court will be a temple of justice in every parish. When people pass there, they must see a temple of justice. How many of you have passed the first one being built down St. Thomas in Moreland Bay? When you see that court, you can see an attractive court. And when we fit it out soon and open it up, if not later this year, early next year, this will be a classical court in the Jamaican system. And we are going to build 4 more, one in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth that Hurricane Melissa damaged, and also in St. Anne and Trelawney that Hurricane Melissa also damaged. And we are going to build others. But when you think, labor rights, when we came to power in 2016, the justice sector was in total crisis. The judges were threatening to go on strike. How many of you remember that? I can show you the papers. The judges were going to take the government, the then government, to court over salaries. I have the clips. Because they were the worst paid judges in the Caribbean. No, labor rights. The judges are the best paid in the Caribbean. Their salaries have doubled over the last many years. And when you came, lawyers who did legal aid work couldn't get paid. They were begging that when I came to office, they begged me, so what you can do, Mr. Chuck, to make sure we get some money. They owe us a couple of years. People had judgment against the government, have been paid judgment debt within a matter of 3-4 years. We have to be begging the lawyers to send in their bills so we can pay them. We have to tell people, if you settle no debt on a judgment, we can pay you. So for the last 4, in the second term, from 2018, we don't owe nobody. We don't owe no lawyers, and we don't owe anybody who have succeeded in any case against the government. That is the Andrew Holness-led administration, the success of our ministers of finance to be able to garner the revenue that the Ministry of Justice can get things done and make sure that our people can get what they deserve. And then we started, well, you know, my friend talked about expungement. I'm glad you mentioned it. Because only this year, less than 3 months ago, we changed the expungement, widened the Expungement Act so that more people can get their records expunged. These are persons who, yes, have offended. But for the last 10, 15, 20 years, they have been trying to go and live a straight life. And finally, they were able to get the opportunity now. And I'm happy to report that we increased the number on the committee from 5 to 9. And I told the members, make sure that you meet regularly and remove the backlog of almost 2,000 cases. And the backlog has now been removed. So all applications before 2026 have been dealt with. So persons now who have cases, who have been convicted and are going straight, you can apply and you might get the record expunged. One area that we have not yet expunged are those persons who have been convicted for gun offenses. And I say to those people across Jamaica who have guns and creating havoc in their communities, put it down. Because if you use it and you get convicted, you have a whole heap of problem. and you could live with that offense for the rest of your life. So think about it as you move with your gun. Make sure you get rid of it. But let me say, labor rights, we must support the police to bring crime even further down. And we must work closely with the police. But we must also work with ourselves. And that is why we have a social justice system where if you have disputes, you must learn to settle it. You don't have to pull knife and threaten people. You must find a way that when you have an argument, when you have a disagreement, you can settle it. Labor rights, we must be calm, peaceful, harmonious people. And I want to speak about how you can ensure now that you live the life of peace. Because I'm saying to you, only this week, we have passed the Mediation Act. And I want to spend a few minutes to tell you about it. This Mediation Act will be added on to restorative justice. And you know, my friend Dwayne Smith said, there's a restorative justice center in the Pembroke Hall Center, and it is saving lives. Because when people have committed offense against with one another, they go there and restore their relationship. And we have 22 of these restorative justice centers right across Jamaica. And we have justice centers in every parish, so that anyone who have a dispute, have a problem, they can go to the justice center, or they can call AAA Justice and get direction how they can solve and heal their problems. So apart from restorative justice, child diversion, and victim services expungement, we're now going to add mediation, which will be my focus over the next 12 months. Because we want a mediator in every square mile of Jamaica. We want every pastor to be trained in mediation, every teacher to be trained in mediation. Because the idea of this mediation bill is to ensure that mediation is widely known, widely practiced, widely used. But those persons who are going to charge as mediators must be certified. So they are professional mediators who, once they are trained and certified, then they can charge the parties. Or, as happens now, if the court refers the parties to mediator and they can't afford it, we, the government, pay it now. And believe me, last year, over 3,000 settlements were made. 80% of the cases that went to them. And the Ministry of Justice paid out $55 million. And I don't mind paying out $500 million if people can come together and settle their matters. Ladies and gentlemen, disagreement is good. Nothing is wrong with you disagreeing. It is a part of the democratic process. It is a part of who you are. It is a part of you thinking differently from your brother or sister or your friend. So nothing is wrong in having a different opinion. Some people support Argentina, some support Spain, and you hear them arguing, but we don't want them fighting. So, what I'm trying to say to you, that is so generally in any human relationship. You're going to have disagreements. But when you have disagreements, you must verbalize it. No reason to tighten the fist like the PNP, like you want to punch. You must open your hand and say, let us talk about it. Let us talk about it. And that is what mediation is about. When you can't together settle your argument, We are going to ask people across Jamaica, if you can't settle your argument, you can't settle your dispute, you can't settle your contractual arrangement, go to a mediator. Go to the Justice Center, and we will appoint a mediator to assist you to resolve the conflict that you may have. Ladies and gentlemen, it is working, I tell you, 80% of the matters referred by the courts to mediators have been settled. And so, this Mediation Act now is to ensure that we expand it to communities. Not only to communities where communities can refer to mediators, and we'll explain further how it will be done, because we are going to have what you call mediation service providers who you can contact and they will assist in providing the mediators. But apart from that, we are going to try to expand the mediation even more in the courts. But if parties, before they go to court, can just go to a mediation or get a mediator, we can have less burden on the court. The court is overwhelmed, and there's no need for you to spend a whole heap of money, hire high price like lawyer like me to come help you settle. You go to a mediation center and you get a mediator, and if you can't settle, then you go to court. But the likelihood is that if you and your party say, let us choose a mediator, and you know, verbalize it. Because mediation is a win-win situation. Both parties participate. When you go to court and the judge make a decision, it's a win-lose. And the one who loses hate you forever. Hate the winner forever. So we have to try to see labor rights. And we're going to start with the labor rights. See if we can work with one another. Settle our arguments. Settle our conflicts. And keep Jamaica a peaceful place. And then we want Jamaica to be a mediation center for the hemisphere. Once we roll out mediation and it is working, we can tell the rest of the Caribbean, tell the rest of the hemisphere, we have great mediators in Jamaica. You know, this is what is happening in Singapore. So we are ratifying now the Singapore Convention on Mediation, because countries, Indonesia, Australia, everywhere, they go and settle their arguments, their problems, their contractual arrangements in Singapore. And we want Jamaica to be like that. So those are some of the objectives of the Mediation Act. And labor rights, you're going to hear much more about it from me over the next month or so, because every single one of you, we're going to pay the trainers and the mediators to come and sensitize communities about mediation. We want people to be trained in mediation so that people know the strategy, how you get people to control their anger, how you get people to say, calm down, no? Let us hear each side. Let us hear each side, because it's not only one side, you know. The other side have something to say. So if both sides can really utter and say what they want, then the likelihood you can verbalize and settle it. And that labor right is why this justice ministry is the best ministry and the best justice system we are having, because we want our Jamaica people to live in peace and harmony. And we want Jamaica to be a first world country, and it can only happen under a Labour Party government. All right? So let me say this. Labor rights. You have heard from the previous speakers, especially Minister Williams, you have a challenge there whenever the PNP is in power. They're always critical, looking for something wrong, looking for an argument. You hear they're the most vocal people in the community. Cuss off everybody. That's not us labor rights. When you cuss, when them cuss, you just ignore them. Don't get in any argument with them. Because we in the Labour Party, right across Jamaica, we want to make sure that Jamaica can be the peaceful place that God meant it to be. And I'm saying, once we have peace, Once we can settle our differences, crime can go down and will go down. And that is why you notice we in government, we rarely argue with the PNP. You know. Them cuss and them argue and we ignore them. See, that is why we try to straighten out and say truth matters. So what we want to do, we are coming here, we're not quarreling with them anywhere, you know. We come and we straighten out the truth. And I'm saying to you, Labourites, when you look at the history, it is only when the Labour Party is in power that Jamaica grows. It is a fact of life. On any measure, it is only when the Labour, and that is why the fourth term is sure. And I have no doubt by the end of the third term, the people over there will see that not only are we deserving of the fourth term, that the first world country could come in the fourth term. So Labourites, we have to do the work. We're not quarrel. We're just going to do the work, make sure Era Council 1 get more than 9 seats, 10 or 11, and we take back Kingston and St. Andrew so we can manage Kingston and St. Andrew properly. So Labourites, it has been a great evening. And I ask every one of you, remember, when you go out there, spread the positive message. Good things are happening in the country. Truth matters. And let it be known, let your neighbors, everyone know, the Labour Party works for the common people, all of Jamaica. Thank you, Labourites.
Choose Jamaica for better communities. Choose Jamaica for our prosperity. Choose Jamaica, this is what it really is.
That was the Justice Minister. I believe it is fair to say, ladies and gentlemen, Jamaicans, because we are not only speaking to Labour Party supporters here, we're gone viral. And I have read some of the comments where they are saying, okay, we know, but speak to your fellow Jamaicans. This is the first meeting in a series that we have started. We're not on the campaign trail. These meetings is to bring the message of the government to the people so that the people understand the work of the government. We have a responsibility as ministers and as members of parliament, councillors, to give an account to the people who place their trust in us. But if we allow those who have been rejected more than once, despite all the mischief, and they're still in the same format, if we allow them, then Jamaica will suffer. Our next stop in this series, Truth Matters. We're going to mash down the lies. Our next stop will be Central Kingston in the month of August. But before I close the meeting, as the minister with responsibility for disaster, I want to say to all of us as Jamaicans, you notice how hot the time is? We are going into the second month of the hurricane season. And right now we are experiencing drought conditions across sections of the country. In some parishes where rain was scarce, They're having more rains fall than ever before. I want to urge the country, I want to urge our supporters. If you ask me what lesson I have learned from Melissa, one lesson Melissa taught me, that there can be something greater than Melissa. And let us not continue to say we are a God-blessed country and that nothing now go happen. And I am proud of the approach that we took as a government last year when Melissa was coming to the country. The various press conferences that we had, the various advisory that was put out. I want to say to my fellow Jamaicans, to my constituents and to all of us here, climate change is real. It's no longer something that we can dismiss. You know, when I went to Westmoreland for the launch of the cleanup, the pastor who prayed, and when she was praying, she said, Mr. Desmond, let me tell you something. Me not talk, make you hear, but me I go talk. The people them down here say, are you and one man named Mr. Andrew shoot something in the sky? And that is what happened down at Westmoreland. She said it loud. I can only urge you to be cautious. Do what is necessary. Because as a country, and I want to tell you tonight, we are in a zone, we are prone to natural disasters. We sit on a fault line, earthquake fault line. Look what happened to Venezuela. We are on the same fault line like Venezuela. We are prone to flooding. So while we are happy and we give God thanks, our realities are real. And when we get forums like these, it's not just to talk about shower and to ring bells. It's to raise these issues so you understand that as your elected representative, as a government, we care. And we're not going to come here and fool you and tell you any Nancy story. When you're going to St. Elizabeth, you see the problems. When you're going to Westmoreland, you see it. I am going to Trelawney tomorrow to visit the location where we are putting down the new infirmary because the whole one was destroyed by Melissa. As a country, we must have an appreciation for disaster because we are a disaster-prone country. And I want to thank you all for coming out. This meeting was only planned last week. And we took the decision to have it. And I want to thank those online who have been with us since 6 o'clock. I want to thank Nationwide Radio and all the other platforms. And I want to thank the constituents of Northwest St. Andrew. Ably led by Member of Parliament and his councillors. And to say to Area Council 1, let's get active. We have a job of work to do. We lost the deputy mayor position, 2020. we need to get back in front. The time has come when as a party, the country understands the country is not going to turn its back on Andronis because the people have seen the goodness of this young man. And all the lies and the mischief. That is why the truth matters. Mash down that lie. We close with the playing of the party's anthem.
Equal rights and justice is our everlasting song. Unity and progress will make our nation strong. Stand up for your rights when you hear the bell. Stand up for justice, hear the freedom bell. Remember Bustamante, he served you well. Stand up, Jamaicans, when you hear the bell.
Good night. God bless you and go home safe.
Choose Jamaica. Choose Jamaica. We're on a mission to lift up our communities. Jamaica Labour Party building shared prosperity. No, we never said that it would happen overnight. Still we laid the foundation to make the future right. We pledge our hearts to uphold our